There are mornings when everything feels perfectly normal. The birds were singing. Lou was trying to wake me up, just like every other day. Our little apartment felt warm, quiet, safe. Looking back, I never imagined this would be the last morning the three of us would ever spend here. By sunset, we had to be gone. No new home, no plan. Just one day to find a place where Lou, me, and I could start over. So we closed the door and began searching. Mornings in Saigon begin long before the sun feels fully awake. Within minutes, the streets are already alive. Motorbikes weave through the city in every direction, and everyone seems to be heading somewhere. As for me, my destination today was still unknown. Since early morning, I'd been riding from one neighborhood to another, turning into narrow alleyways, stopping in front of apartments I'd never even noticed before. Some only took a single glance to cross off the list. Others made me wonder, could this be the place we'll call home next? I wasn't looking for anything luxurious, or even especially spacious. I was simply looking for a place where the three of us could begin again. A place that fit our everyday life, a place close enough for work, and more importantly, a place where Lou and me would feel safe. As the hours quietly slipped by, I still had no idea if we'd find that place today, but somewhere in this enormous city, I couldn't help believing there was one door waiting for us. The only question was, would we find it before the day came to an end? By lunchtime, I made my way back home. Just like every other day, the first thing I did was feed Lou and me. No matter how busy life gets, they've always been my first priority. After they finished eating, we spent a few quiet moments together, watching them play without a single worry in the world. It was hard to believe that in just a few hours, this little apartment would become nothing more than a memory. I gently patted Lou on the head, looked over at me, and quietly whispered, "Wait for me, okay?" Because all I wanted was for the next time I opened this door to be the moment I brought them to a place we could finally call home. After taking a short break and I got back on my bike, Saigon was as busy as ever. People hurried from one place to another, and so did I. One alley after another, one apartment after another. I'd stop, take a look, then quietly move on again. Some places were too small, some were simply too far away, and at a few places, I heard the same words again. "Sorry, we don't allow pets." Every time I heard that, I'd climb back on my bike and start searching all over again. The truth is, this journey had started a few days earlier. After our landlord found out about Lou and me, he told us that if we wanted to keep them, our monthly rent and other fees would increase by about $100. I went over the numbers again and again, trying to make them work, hoping there was still a way to stay. But eventually, I had to accept that it was simply more than I could afford. More importantly, I never wanted Lou and me to become a problem for anyone else. So leaving felt like the only choice we had left. The hours quietly slipped away. 6 o'clock, 6:30, 7. The sky had turned dark. Headlights stretched endlessly across the city, and somehow, I was still searching. For the first time that day, I felt genuinely worried. If I couldn't find a place tonight, where would the three of us sleep? At around 7:30 p.m, I stopped in front of one more house. By then, I wasn't expecting much anymore. I just thought, one last place, It was tucked beside a quiet little park, more spacious than our old apartment, peaceful. And somehow, even before stepping inside, it felt different. Maybe, after a whole day of searching, this was the place we'd been hoping to find. But what was waiting behind that door? Could it finally become home for the three of us? English Lou had fallen asleep before I even noticed. Maybe he'd been waiting for me for a long time. After such a long day, sleep finally won. Watching him curled up so peacefully, I almost couldn't bring myself to wake him. But tonight, we were leaving for a new home, so I gently called his name. He slowly opened his eyes, looked at me, and quietly stood up, as if knowing I was there was all he needed. Before we stepped into a new chapter, I wanted him to feel comfortable, safe, clean. The first thing we did was trim the nails that had grown a little too long. It was something I'd been meaning to do for days. I wanted every step he took to feel light and easy. Then came a warm bath. I carefully washed away the dust hidden beneath his thick coat, running my hands gently through every strand of fur. Maybe Lou knew today wasn't just another ordinary day, because through the whole bath, and while I slowly dried his soft fur, he stayed unbelievably calm. No fuss, no impatience, just quietly sitting beside me, as if he trusted me with everything. When his fur was finally dry, he looked up at me with those familiar eyes, the kind of eyes that always remind me, no matter where life takes us, home has never really been a place. It's been the ones we stay beside. I have to admit, he looked especially handsome. His fluffy coat, his bright little smile, everything seemed ready for a brand new beginning. Of course, a handsome gentleman deserves a little treat before the journey begins, because in just a little while, the three of us would leave behind the place that had been our home for so long, and together we would begin writing a brand new chapter. With Lou finally ready, it was my turn. I stood quietly in the middle of the room. Everything was still where it had always been. The only difference was, this time I was putting it all away. Every bowl, every pot, every little thing in the kitchen. The things I'd reached for almost every single day were now disappearing into large bags, one by one. It's funny, a place never seems to hold that much until it's time to leave. With every bag I filled, the apartment felt just a little emptier. Besides my full-time job, I also build and repair computers on the side, which meant the hardest part wasn't the kitchen, it was everything else. Computer cases, monitors, cables, tools, boxes filled with parts I'd collected over the years. Each one had to be packed carefully, not because they were expensive, but because I couldn't afford to replace them. As the pile by the door grew taller, it suddenly hit me. An entire chapter of life can fit into just a handful of bags. But there are some things you can never pack away. The memories, the quiet routines, the feeling of calling a place home. Still, it was time to close this chapter and carry the important things with us into the next one. This was the first time I'd stopped caring about doing things properly. Normally, I'd fold every shirt, make sure everything fit neatly into the suitcase, but not today. Today, I was simply trying to keep up with the clock. One armful after another, everything disappeared into the suitcase. It didn't matter if the clothes were wrinkled. It didn't matter if nothing was organized, because I knew I could always fold them again tomorrow. what I couldn't do was ask today to slow down. The more I packed, the emptier this little apartment became. Corners that had always been filled slowly turned quiet. It was strange. Just a few hours ago, this still felt like home. Now, it already felt like we were saying goodbye. I wanted to finish as quickly as I could, not because I was excited to leave, but because the longer I stayed, the harder it became. Then there was one last box, the only box. I refused to rush. Lou and me's food, their bowls, their favourite treats, the little things they'd be looking for without even knowing it. I checked everything once, then again, because moving to a new place is already confusing enough. I just didn't want them to lose the small pieces of home that could make a strange place feel familiar. Only after closing that box did I finally feel we were really ready to go. Some places make you want to leave before you even step inside. And then there are places like this, places that quietly make you wonder what's waiting on the other side of the door. English, I bet. Anyone who's ever moved has said the exact same thing. Next time, I'm going to live with less. Then I laughed, because I've said that every single time. Yet somehow, I always end up with more. A few bowls, some kitchen utensils, clothes, charging cables, my little workspace. Every bag I opened came with the same question. When did I even buy this? Maybe. Our belongings are a little like memories. You don't really notice them until it's time to leave. One bag at a time. The kitchen first, then the clothes. Finally, my workspace. Sometimes, all you have to do is start. Before I knew it, the apartment was beginning to look empty. Not because I owned less, but because everything was finally ready for a new home. The boxes weren't what worried me. Lou was. I wasn't sure if any driver would agree to take such a big dog. But then, I met the kindest driver. He smiled and simply said, "Of course." Just like that, the whole move cost only about $3. Sometimes, the best part of moving isn't saving money. It's meeting someone kind when you need it the most. By the time things had settled down, it was already getting late, and I had a feeling I wasn't the only one ready for another meal. So before making anything for myself, I fixed a little late-night snack for Lou. Only after watching him happily finish his food did I finally sit down to eat. After a day like this, it somehow felt like the best meal I'd had in a long time. Not because of the food, but because, for the first time all day, there was nowhere else I needed to be. As for Lou, even after finishing his own meal, he quietly came over and sat beside me. That look on his face hadn't changed at all. The kind that says maybe I could still fit one more bite. I tried to ignore him for about 10 seconds, then I gave in. One little slice of cucumber, and just like that, he looked completely satisfied. There was just one last thing to do. Set up my workspace. One cable at a time, one monitor at a time. The computer, the keyboard, the microphone, even the little desk light. Everything slowly found its place again. Maybe, after such a hectic day, this was the first moment that finally felt calm. As each screen lit up, one after another, it felt like my everyday life was slowly coming back together. But the best part It wasn't my workspace, it was Lou and me. While I was still untangling cables, the two of them had already started their own little adventure, running from one room to another, chasing each other down the hallway, stopping to sniff every corner, curious about every new sound and every unfamiliar smell. They looked just like two little kids, exploring a brand new home for the very first time. There wasn't a trace of fear, only excitement, only curiosity. Watching them play together made every bit of exhaustion from the long day simply disappear. Maybe what makes a place feel like home isn't the desk, or the lights, or the things we carefully put back together. It's the sound of tiny footsteps echoing through every room, and the happiness of the ones you love. At that moment, I knew the three of us were finally home. When the lights came on, I knew life was finally back to normal. Maybe after such a long day, this was exactly what I needed. Lou couldn't hide his excitement. One hug, and he was already bouncing around again, pulling me into another game, running across the room as if nothing stressful had happened today. Meanwhile, me was busy with a mission of her own. One corner, then another, slowly, carefully, almost as if she was saying, I think this place will do just fine. One of them celebrates every little moment. The other takes her time to understand it. And there I was, standing between them, without even realizing. I was smiling too. Maybe home isn't about finding the perfect place. It's about finding a place where everyone can simply be themselves. After playing with Lou for a while, I suddenly noticed the bed was still a little messy. Maybe that was the very last thing I needed to finish today. A few minutes later, the blanket was folded. The room slowly felt a little more complete. I stood there for a moment, looking around. It was hard to believe that only a few hours ago, this place had been completely unfamiliar, and now it was already beginning to feel like home. Then I laughed. After spending the whole day driving across the city, moving, unpacking, and putting everything back together, I'd somehow forgotten to take a shower. Maybe I was so focused on making sure everything else was settled first. Now, it was finally my turn. A warm shower, a little silence, and the perfect way to bring this long day to an end. Somewhere along the way, Lou had already fallen asleep. I guess today had been just as exhausting for him as it was for me. It feels like only yesterday that he came home, and somehow he'd already outgrown the little bed he used to love. Now, he preferred sleeping on the cool floor instead. Maybe he was growing up faster than I realized. Meanwhile, me quietly curled up beside him, as if home wasn't really about the place, just being together. As for me, I picked up my iPad and continued the series I'd been watching, but I must have been more tired than I thought, because somewhere before it ended, I fell asleep too. I have no idea what tomorrow will bring. All I know is that moving into this apartment was only the beginning. Life has a funny way of changing everything when you least expect it.